Hello, my name is Roda Naman and welcome to my channel. In this channel, this is the first review I'm doing in the year 2019, and I want this channel to be about book reviews, basically African or African American or anyone of black descent books. I might break that a little, but not too much. It's not going to be any Western books, it's going to be a lot of African book reviews. And the book I want to start with, this channel with, it has to be a powerful book. And the book that I decided was the one that fit this criteria is... is anyone really surprised? Anyway, Becoming by Michelle Obama was released late last year, and it automatically, instantly became an internet sensation. Lucky for me, my older sister gave it to me for Christmas, and that is a book I'm going to start with. Now, Becoming is about, obviously, Michelle Obama, and it's her autobiography. In this, she talks about basically her life. That is exactly what an autobiography is. I don't want to give you a lot of spoilers. I just want to tell you that that's what the book is about. Now, what I do want to mention is some of the themes that I thought were recurring, or the themes that I thought were important enough in this book for me to mention. And the first thing is politics. Now, Michelle Obama throughout this book talks about how she does not like politics. She might not get herself into politics. She's not going to run for office. She makes that very explicitly clear that she's not going to do that. But she does talk about politics in the way that I find amusing. One way that I found that she talks about politics in a way that was amusing, I think, is about the electoral process of America. That I had no idea how that happens. I had never read about it. I didn't care to learn about it. But in this book, she touches a lot on the electoral process of America. But not only that, she's first-hand information of the kind of stress, the kind of patience, the kind of work, the kind of movement, the kind of money that is required to successfully run a presidential political campaign. I found that very extraordinary. Another way she talks about politics is she sometimes delves into a little bit of what Obama was doing as president, the kind of things that he tried to push, and the kind of resistance he got from the Republicans. She kind of talks a lot about that. That also gives us a little bit more information, or me personally, or anyone who has no idea what happens in America, of the kind of government, or how they pass laws in America, which I found quite interesting. So that was some of the way she talks about politics. There are probably other examples, but that's the one. Those are the examples I can come up with. The second thing that stood out for me a lot was family and friendship. She constantly throughout the books talks about the importance of family and friendship. An example of family and friendship: her mother moved into the White House. Her mother moved into the White House with her and her family for the 8 years that they were president, or the 8 years they lived in the White House. Her mother lived with her. There's a part of the book where she talks about going on getaways with her friends, just so they can catch up and laugh and enjoy, and they used to go to like a sort of hidden cabin where they could just enjoy themselves and have fun. And that shows, and throughout she emphasizes the importance of friendship, the kind of peace you can get from your friends, the kind of support you can get from your friends. And I think that's important. When we go into family, I want to go a little bit into her upbringing, her mother and her dad. Her mom, for the most part of her life, she was a stay-at-home mom, ensuring that everything ran smoothly. So they had a sort of very balanced, very traditional sort of upbringing. And then she also talks about her family living around. The third thing she does talk about, but in passing, is race. She talks about race from her perspective. Let's start from when she grew up, Becoming Me. She grew up in the south side of Chicago. Now, there was a huge race divide. When she started school, there were a lot more white people in the neighborhood. But by the time she was at a certain grade, that neighborhood was largely a black neighborhood. She talks about that. A lot of white families were moving to the suburbs, and the blacks were being left behind. She does talk about it. She also talks about the racial issues that she had to deal with during their political campaign. She talks about the microscopic combing through their lives, the questioning of Obama's birthplace, basically, for the lack of a better term. She talks about that. She talks about the kind of stress that she had to deal with as a black woman. She talks about how she at one point had to soften herself because she came out as an angry black woman, a stereotypic angry black woman. She talks about the killings. In passing, she talks about the gun violence, police brutality, also in passing. But in this book, she does touch on race. I feel like she did not want to make race the core theme in her book, so she talks about it in passing, but it's definitely there. The underlying things, definitely there. So about the fourth thing she talks about is health, wealth. Fancy term, but throughout this book, she lives a healthy, wealthy life. And not wealthy in terms of money, but health-wise. She insists on organic eating. She exercises regularly. When she gets into State House, oh my God, no. When she gets into the White House, she starts a program called Let's Move, which lobbies companies, which lobbies major shareholders in the food industry to reduce unprocessed sugars and go for healthier alternatives. She's becomes quite successful in this lobbying to a point where she changes school menus and school lunches to serve less sugar and more healthy products. Also, as a symbol of this Let's Move movement, she starts a garden in the White House that produces a lot of fresh produce as a symbolic gesture, I'm guessing, to healthier lifestyle and healthier decision making, and that's quite something. Throughout, even as the First Lady of America, she goes for a lot of workouts. She does a lot of workouts. She even goes out into like Pilates and cycling classes and to the gym and stuff like that. So yeah, health wealth. She insists on that a lot in the book, and you have seen the videos from Ellen DeGeneres where she does like push-ups in her videos. So health wealth, she lives it, she breathes it, she practices it. Careers and passions is a fifth theme that I think she talks about, and she talks about this from her career, from being a corporate lawyer to working to the mayor's office to going into running a non-governmental organization or a non-profit, as they call them in America, that assists the youths of Chicago to get training and assistance and job placements. She also goes on to become the vice president of a hospital. Throughout all of these things, she moves. So the most striking part about this is moving with something that fulfills you. Is she leaves a high-paying job as a lawyer, as a corporate lawyer, into a lower-paying job, and that transition for me is her finding something that does not only fill her pocket, but fills her heart and her soul. And she pushes and she demands more. Even at her job, she puts it bare. She says, these are all the bills that I have to pay. You have to try and accommodate all those things. The lesson that I pick up from this, especially with careers and passion, is choosing something that fills not just your pocket, but fills your soul as well. Powerful stuff. And the next thing I want to talk about is fertility. Now, obviously, just like race, she doesn't quite touch on fertility, but I caught it. Now, fertility is such a sensitive topic to discuss, especially amongst women and society with women, and it is important for us, and it is important that she mentioned it. I think the fact that she mentioned it was very beneficial. Both her daughters are conceived through IVF, which means that wealthy people like Michelle Obama will need IVF. It is not an uncommon or unheard of phenomenon for women in this day and age to require medical assistance or scientific assistance to conceive. That brings that into conversation. I think personally for me, I thought it brought that into conversation. I don't know what you think. And last but not least, I think it's love. I think her and Barack share a very cute and sweet kind of love. Now, I don't want to be like, ooh, it's a kind of fairy tale that I expected it to be, but it definitely is something worth mentioning. They find so much pleasure and solace in each other that I think is great, honestly. I truthfully think it's great in its own way. There are a lot of sacrifices here and there. It's not the fairy tale that I thought it was, but at the end of the day, they do have and they do share that immense love for each other and immense respect for one another that I find that admirable. I think it's admirable to meet someone and carry on in his goal and be supportive and take on whatever challenges he takes on with nothing but a smile on your face that shows love and courage. And I absolutely... So the last part of this, I want to read a quote from Michelle Obama about failure, which is the quote that I think runs the show with regards to this book. It says, I'm going to read it from my screen. failure is a feeling long before it becomes an actual result. It's a vulnerability that breeds with self-doubt and then it escalates often deliberately by fear. Boom! Did you hear what I said? Let me do it one more time. Failure is a feeling long before it becomes an actual result. It's a vulnerability that breeds with self-doubt, then is escalated often deliberately by fear. That's it. That's it. Seriously. That's it. That's a quote. That speaks a lot to a lot of people. That is the quote I want to choose for this book. Final thoughts about this book. Do I think you should read this book? Yes. Do I think it's worth buying? Yes. Do I think you should? Yes. The answer is yes. Any thought you have about this book? Yes, 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 and yes. Is it a great book? Yes. Is it well written? Yes. Is it informative? Yes. What do I like about this book? I should have started by saying she's very raw, she's very honest, she's very relatable, she's very truth, she sticks close to her truths. Even when those truths don't make her particularly look good, she sticks close to them. She's candid in it. She follows her heart. It shows resilience. She has a lot of resilience that is often shown in this book. I absolutely believe that this book is a must read for every single Black woman or man, every single person in this world should read Becoming by Michelle Obama, and you shall become like Michelle Obama. That's it for me today. My name is Rhoda Norman. Thank you for watching. Alright, please subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what part of this book that you absolutely enjoyed. Let me know what aspects, what themes that were more pronounced to you than what I have said. Let me know all those things. Follow me on Instagram, Rhoda.Naman, on Twitter, Rhoda Naman, on Facebook, Rhoda Naman. I'll let the links right down below. Thank you so much for watching my first ever book review on YouTube. I will make sure that I give you more. Bye.